It's Game Time Legends here, about to bring you up to speed with the nightmare. As you already know, hence why you clicked on this video, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2, games, prices, all the recent updates, and horrifying news, hint hint, that recently occurred. And yes, I am a little late at posting this video, but hey, late is better than never. I know that we all were heavily looking forward to the release of the Switch 2 and all that it had to offer, and just thought that this year was going to be an amazing year, knowing that it was going to be released this year. But boy, when they say things don't always turn out the way you think, yeah, this is the real deal right now. Things ain't looking so good for the Switch 2 this year. A lot of unforeseen changes and disappointments. But I'm going to be going over all the latest news and everything you need to know or want to know about the Switch 2. If you're new to my channel, welcome to Game Time Legends. I mainly do glitches for Tears of the Kingdom, but I'm going to be doing mods now as well, so that's pretty cool. But for this video, I had to divert a little bit and talk about the Switch 2 itself, because what's going on right now, it's crazy, and a lot of people I know aren't going to be happy. Even the developers were thrown for a loop, but you'll see once I go into details of what's going on. It's just crazy, man. But if you're interested in glitches and mods and the Switch 2, because that's going to be added to the channel as well, because it's the Switch 2, the most trending thing that's happening despite of what's going on. But be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button so you won't miss out on anything, because I got a lot coming. With that being said, let's get into the nightmare. So I'm pretty sure you guys saw that long ass announcement that they had of the Switch 2, introducing all the awesome games that they had coming out. Got Mario World, as we all know, and looking forward to play. Donkey Kong, finally, man, another 3D Donkey Kong game, one that I've been looking forward to so long. The last Donkey Kong game that they had was on the Nintendo 64, and they never did another one. I'm so happy they're doing it again. Kirby Air Ride, I love that game, and there's just so many awesome games that they have coming out that we will be able to play on the Switch 2. Not to mention all the new features they have integrated. We have the voice chat, which is not really new, but it is to the Switch, so friends could communicate with each other while playing the game. They also have their own official camera that comes with it. We have the Joy-Cons that could operate as a mouse, which is pretty cool. And they have a whole kickstand that goes across the whole back instead of just one area. And of course, much better quality and smoother gameplay with frame rates at 120. And also we have 8 times the storage. So instead of 32 gigs, we have 256. And of course, the magnetic snap-on Joy-Cons. And it's just a lot of other awesome things that they have. You could check it out in the trailer. I could keep going on with all the wonderful games and features that they have, but for the purpose of this video, I want to continue on addressing the horrible truth behind the beauty, and at least how I feel about it. Because behind every wonderful thing, there's always a catch-22, at least in this age and economy. In spite of all the wonderful things that they had going on in the announcement, one thing they never mentioned were the prices. So we're going to get into all the prices for software, hardware, and all the accessories, and see how you guys feel about it. Okay, so first, if you are interested in pre-registering for the Switch 2, you could come to their website and you will have the option to choose between the Switch 2 bundle, which is the Switch 2 and Mario Kart, or the Switch 2 itself, and you will have to sign in to see the prices. So once you sign in, you will see the price, and you will have the option, like I said, to choose between the bundle or the Switch 2 itself. If you choose the bundle, you will have to pay $499.99. If you choose the Switch 2 alone, it will be $450. Now, keep in mind, if you do register and you want to get the Switch from Nintendo, you do have to meet certain criteria. And all the information is here if you want to read it. But just an FYI, Because of unforeseen events, which we will talk about later on in the video, the pre-purchases will be delayed. But just let you know, this is where you would go to if you wanted to pre-purchase. But if you decide not to buy the bundle for some reason, but still want Mario Kart sometime in the future, you will have to pay around $80 to $90. Yes, that is insane, but that's true. Now, I hear that there's a difference between physical and digital. The digital is $80, and I heard the physical would be $90. The 90 is it's crazy. I'm not sure how true that is, but I know the physical, the digital will be around $80, which is still crazy because not even PlayStation games are that much. But when I first heard this, I was okay. I said, all right, maybe it's just Mario Kart, and because Mario Kart is just a big hit and it's just that good to be that expensive for some reason. But then I hear Donkey Kong is around $70. That made me think, are all the Switch 2 games are going to be around this price? $60 was already a lot. Now we're going into the $70, $80 range. Not even PlayStation games was that much. Now, if it's going to be like this, like I said, this year don't seem like it's going to be a good year for the Switch 2 or Nintendo in general. And in addition to the games potentially being $10 to $20 more, it gets even worse. Remember those awesome features that I mentioned earlier, like the game chat? So you could talk to your friends and just have a great time? Well, guess what? You're going to have to pay for that too. At least in the future. They do give you a certain amount of time to use it for free. I think it's a year, but after that, you will have to pay for it. So yes, there will be just a random button on your controller in your face staring at you that you cannot use if you don't decide to pay for it. And I heard that the C, it stands for credit card. I'm not sure how true that is, but it might be true. But yeah, you won't be able to use it if you don't pay for it. And the Switch 2 editions. Yes, they have Switch 2 editions of the Nintendo Switch games. And basically those games offer better quality, better frame rate, better gameplay, just an entirely better experience. But it ain't for free. Nintendo said, no, you ain't gonna have the privilege of having the Switch 2 experience on the software that you already spent your hard-earned money on and purchased from us for free. No, the fun-loving, family-friendly Nintendo that you used to know ain't here no more, boy. You gotta put that money in and purchase the upgrade pack to activate the features that's already built into the system that you're gonna spend more money on us in order to enjoy the awesome experience. But to justify it, some of the upgrades do have additional things added to them. And if that's the case, well, I guess that makes sense. But other than that, you should be able to just insert the cartridge into the new system and then have the experience of the Switch 2. But no. I mean, come on, Nintendo. I know you guys work hard on your stuff, but I mean, you gotta be good to your consumers, man. We're the one that's purchasing your stuff. You look out for us, you'll get all the money you ever dreamed of. Now, they did mention this.
Or access the upgrade packs at no additional cost with a paid Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack membership.
So if you do already have the expansion pack membership, you won't have to pay for it, but it's still not for free because you are paying for the membership. But the good news is we'll be able to play Nintendo GameCube games again. Yay! And with the new and improved chat feature added to the controller. Now, I think we've talked enough about the games, but before we jump into the accessories, I just want to add this little piece in. So they actually came up with a game called the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which basically gives you a tour of the entire hardware and all the different features and mechanisms that they have built into it. And you would think, oh, that sounds cool. I'll check it out because it's just a tour. Ain't no way they're going to charge us for that. That's almost equivalent to a virtual instruction manual. In what world do you have to pay for an instruction manual? Obviously, in the Nintendo world. And obviously you don't have to purchase it at all. I just wanted to mention it because I thought it was funny. If you want to play this boring ass game and learn exactly how the Switch works, you have to pay. But all the other things that I've been mentioning and are going to mention are things that you probably want or are going to need in order to play the Nintendo Switch 2. So moving on to hardwares and accessories. We have the micro SD card. You're going to have to invest in a micro SD Express card because the regular one isn't going to work because of the changes that they made in the Switch 2. And of course, they have their own SD cards if you want to buy it from them, or you could purchase one cheaper online like Amazon or so. Alright, so this video is actually taking a little longer than I thought, so I won't be going into too much details with the accessories. I'm just going to run over everything real quick. We already went into details with the Switch 2 and the bundle. Next, we have the Joy-Con 2. The left and right going at $90, and I'm just going to round everything off. Instead of saying $89.99 or $79.99, I'll just say 80 or 90. So this is going at $90, which that's pretty steep. I don't know if I'll get that. 90. They have the Switch Pro controller too, and notice everything is 2. The Switch Pro 2. The Switch 2 Pro. So now we have the Switch 2 Pro controller going at $80. Okay, and we have the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, $50. If you want to get the micro SD Express card, that's $60. And they have steering wheels, I guess, for Mario Kart, going at $20. A case, the carrying case at $80. I think I'm good with that. I'll probably just wait it out and get something from somewhere else, because they're probably going to be selling, in the future, something similar to that. Yeah, that's kind of steep for a case. But next we have the Switch carrying case just for the Switch. That's $35. This plastic looking Joy-Con charging grip going at $35. We have the separate controllers, the Joy-Cons, going at $50. So they were, both of them together was $90. Them separately is $50. And they have the back piece to them if you want to attach that. So that's the straps, that will be going at $13. They have the dock, the Nintendo Switch 2 dock, at $110. And the adapter, it'll be $30. All the rest of these stuff are old, so yeah, for the older Switch, or the regular Switch. But yeah, these are the prices for the Switch 2. Like I said, I didn't really get to go into as much detail as I wanted to because the video is taking a little while. So now you know the prices. Pick and choose what you want to buy. All right. Now, in spite of all the stuff that we went through and how expensive things seem right now, well, it gets even worse. And this is where the horror really strikes. This one even threw the creators and the developers for a loop, because no one saw this coming. For some odd reason, around the same exact time, Nintendo announced the release of the Switch 2. A few hours later, Trump announced to impose tariffs on other countries. If this act goes through, it's going to have a serious impact on not only Nintendo, but businesses and consumers as a whole. Now, on the day of the announcement, pre-orders was up and ready to go, but now after this move, it says pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the United States will not start April 9th, like originally planned, in order to assist the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions. Nintendo will update timing at a later date, but the launch of the Switch 2 will still be the same. Okay, so it's unchanged. So right here it says Nintendo Switch 1 consoles were made in China and Vietnam. So these are basically the two countries or territories where Nintendo usually get their hardware manufactured. And of course, it's going to be the same for the Switch 2 as well. Vietnam was hit with 46% tariffs, and China is now 54%. And it goes on to say that Nintendo hasn't said where its new console will be made. But after doing a little more thorough research, it seems like some of Nintendo's production has already been moved to Vietnam in anticipation of the tariff, which basically means that they have to pay 46% more to import products into the US. And I'm not going to go into in-depth detail about the whole tariff situation and what it is, but I will try to explain what this is actually saying without going into too much details. Hypothetically speaking, if Nintendo do decide to continue to manufacture all of their hardware in Vietnam, being that Vietnam was hit with a 46% tariff, which like I said means they have to pay 46% more for imported products, this could drastically increase the prices of products in the US. So reiterating what I just said, now that Vietnam is hit with a 46% tariff, when items are being imported into the United States from Vietnam, they will have to pay 40% more in order to get the products into the United States. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case, but this is just an overall simplification of the possibilities that may occur or could happen. So hypothetically speaking, this could mean that Nintendo, given the high price that the console is already at, could cost probably 46 to 50% more, which could potentially bring the prices up to around $657. Unbelievable, right? Well, just like one of my favorite ninja, Naruto, used to always say, believe it. And now you know the horrible news. I'm not going to continue on this topic. I'm going to just leave it right there because I, for one, am very disappointed. I really just wanted to get the Switch 2, play Mario Kart, and Kirby Air Ride, and Donkey Kong. Games that I've been looking forward to for so long and just chill. Even though the price, I was disappointed at the prices, but now things got even worse. Thanks to you damn Trump supporters, you ruined us all. I hope you're happy. Did I say that? Ooh, that slipped out. You didn't hear nothing. So me personally, am I going to get the Switch 2? Well, I was planning to probably sometime in the future because I really wanted to play those games. And I was just saying, maybe I'm just going to get those 3 games and call it a day, you know. And maybe I'll purchase other games once the prices go down, if the prices are going to be that high. But now, after the tariff situation, I'm not really sure at all. But I'll wait and see. Let me know how you guys feel about the whole situation in the comments. And what would you do? And before I end this video, I just want to say the way I feel about the Nintendo prices before the tariff, to be honest, the Switch 2, because of all the new features and upgrades that it have, I believe that $450 is actually, it's a reasonable price, to be honest. But considering the prices of the software being around $70 to $80, well, that's a steep deal. In my opinion, you know, if the softwares are going to be that expensive, I'm not sure if all of them are going to be, but if they are, I would say that you could at least lower the price of the hardware, which is the Switch 2, because most of the money that you guys are getting will be coming from the software. And even though the Switch 2 is worth that much, it would be smart to lower the price of the Switch 2 to counteract the prices of the games, if the games are going to be that expensive. I mean, sometimes you gotta sacrifice to gain. I'd rather have 5 of my products sold at $400 instead of 3 of my products sold at $450. Not only did you get more money selling the hardware at a cheaper price, that's also 2 extra people that's going to be buying software from you, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, the higher the price is, the less sales you are going to get. So, hey, it's just good business. But that's probably not going to happen. So you gotta be willing to dig deep for this one. Now, I totally understand them bringing up the prices because of all the hard work, time, and effort that they put into making these games without being compensated. But the reality is, the consumers aren't looking at it from that standpoint. So skyrocketing the prices aren't really gonna help. Yes, you guys are a billionaire companies with millions of fans, so you guys definitely will get your money. But with prices so high, I will say that the new and improved Switch 2 that everybody was looking forward to, unfortunately isn't going to do as well as Switch 1 as far as sales. We always knew Nintendo to be the good guys, the fun, friendly corporation that's always there for the people. And they always were. But not anymore. Nintendo. Why Nintendo? What happened in the midst? It seems like every big cooperation will always meet their end and just lose their way when it comes to the big bad greed. What are we gonna do now? And to make matters worse, they're changing the game more than likely for the whole gaming industry, with the move that they're making, opening up thresholds that's never been opened before, meaning that other game companies may try to sell their products or games at higher prices. Or it could just be the end of the whole gaming industry. I have no idea, but we'll see. But like I said, let me know how you guys feel in the comments, your thoughts, your plans. Are you still gonna get the Switch 2 or not? Everything. And try to be respectful. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Because like I said, I do mods. I will be covering content on the Switch 2 as well, because that is trending. But I do glitches, mods for Tears of the Kingdom, and all that good stuff. So be sure to subscribe if you're into that stuff. And if you look on my channel, you may not see any mods right now, but I just started. I got my Switch jailbroken, so it's pretty cool. But you'll see a lot more of that coming. With that being said, this is the end of the video. Game Time Legends is out.